All right, everyone. Well, why don't we go ahead and get started? I want to invite everybody to join via video if you are able to. We don't care what you look like. We just want to see your face and see your energy. So please join if you feel comfortable with that.
I'm going to join. I'm just moisturizing.
Okay. No problem.
That's literally it. I'm going to join. No problem.
Awesome. It's great to see your faces. I know for those of us who are on the West Coast, we're still kind of shaking off some of those cobwebs. So grab yourself a beverage. And I know I typically have more than one beverage at a time. Got to stay hydrated. If you don't already follow us on social media, we're on Facebook and Instagram. And if you don't get our regular updates reminding you when we have a meeting and what the link is, so it's at the top of your inbox, make sure you come over to our bit.ly link, and that will get you on our email list. And also just mark your calendars for every Wednesday at 9 a.m. As you notice, we started a few minutes even before, just kind of chatting and trying to continue to cultivate that community that we love so much about 1 Million Cups. So for those of you who might be newer to us, what makes 1 Million Cups different? Well, we're really about sharing ideas and offering help, asking for help, being genuine and authentic with each other, and building community. Many of us are solo entrepreneurs or solo creators, and usually a business or an idea starts with one person. And so it can be kind of lonely. And that's one of the wonderful things about 1 Million Cups is being able to, connect with other people. So I encourage you to feel comfortable sharing with us. And what makes us different is that we focus on presentations, not pitches. So we're really about understanding your story and knowing, the problem you want to solve and who you are. And we're all about connecting, not networking. Sometimes that turns into, business connections, but usually it just turns into great friendships and great supportive connections in the entrepreneur community. We're for the community, by the community, and most importantly, radically and intentionally inclusive. So we really want to make sure that this space is a space where everyone feels comfortable to be themselves, to share their ideas, to ask for help, and also to let us know if there's anything that you need from the community. So please feel free to reach out here and let us know if there's something that we can do to help it be an even more inclusive space. And if you didn't know, 1 Million Cups is part of a national organization run by the Kauffman Foundation. And I think these numbers are actually way out of date. Those of us who are organizers just went to a big national organizer summit this week virtually. And there's a ton of communities out there, lots of people attending every week. And one of the main missions of 1 Million Cups is to educate, inspire, and connect entrepreneurs. One of the powerful stats that I learned that was really inspiring to me this week at the organizer summit was the fact that 47% or something of jobs come from small businesses. And that's incredible, right? So, think of all the things that we could build. And right now, all of us who are here maybe don't have any employees, but that might be the goal, right? To get there one day. This is our previous in-person space. And as you can see, this is one of the ways that we come together to support each other. So reminder that you don't have to have all the answers or feel like you know exactly what you're doing in order to be quote unquote ready to present here at 1 Million Cups or to offer feedback or to share ideas. We're all here to help each other and to learn. You don't have to be perfect or ready to do any of this. We're all learning together. So special thank you to our community sponsors, Seattle Strong and A Small Studio, who sponsors our meetup page. We've got 4 community organizers and wanted to invite all of you, if you have been loving 1 Million Cups and feel like you have something that you can offer the team, or even if you aren't sure if you have something you can offer the team, but you just want to help this community continue to flourish and continue to be a safe space, reach out to one of us. one of the organizers, or you can email us at seattle@1millioncups.com. No pressure, even if you're just curious. We also especially really need help with like social media. So if you are a wizard at social media or just want to like invest in learning how to do it better yourself, you can come practice on our accounts instead of your business account if you want. So what can you expect today? We've been having a little bit of a chat, drinking our own beverages at home, and we've got a presentation. The presentations here are only 6 minutes, and then that's followed by a 20-minute Q&A. So the Q&A doesn't happen without all of your involvement. So while the presentation is happening, make sure you're thinking about like, what's something that you could ask, of our presenter today. It's so important that as entrepreneurs, we also get really good at asking specific questions, because we're likely going to have to ask specific questions of our prospects, our clients, our partners, our vendors, etc. So this is a great opportunity to kind of practice that skill. And of course, this is where the magic happens, right? Where we can also offer feedback and really just connect with each other. And we'll be doing some connecting via breakout rooms afterwards. So get ready and excited to connect with other people. So later today, when it's time for feedback, we'll be using the raise hand feature, or you can also like raise your hand and unmute. And without further ado, I'm gonna kick it over to Ryan, our entrepreneur for today, to present. Yay, Ryan!
Yay. Hey everyone, thanks for coming here and for your time and attention. Let me get my screen going here. All right, everyone can see that, right? Yeah, cool. All right, so yeah, welcome to Pretzel PPC. My name is Ryan Jones. I'm gonna be presenting here about my new little business venture here today. So we'll jump right on into it. I'm sure you're wondering, what is PPC? PPC stands for pay-per-click advertising. In the late 1990s, when Google started getting going with its search engine product, it allowed advertisers to pay to place text ads above, below, to the sides of the search results. So perhaps in the past you've Googled or Binged something, maybe you were looking for, used cars for sale, something like that. Chances are you see a whole page full of regular or organic search results, and then above and below and perhaps to the side, you also see the paid search results there. But it started there and it kept on evolving. So then we had display and video ads. You've probably experienced this. You were browsing the internet, minding your own business, when suddenly you saw some banner ads on the side of the screen there. Those are display ads. Video ads are the same too. So perhaps you were watching a YouTube video and then suddenly, bam, the video you actually wanted to watch was interrupted by maybe 15 or 30-second video. And as soon as you could click that skip button 5 seconds in, you did. Those are display ads too. Other display ads include Facebook. Maybe you're aimlessly scrolling down your Facebook news feed when you're waiting in line at Starbucks or whatever. I figured that's a Seattle thing, right? And like every third or fourth post, it seems, is an ad, right? All of these are considered PPC ads. The business model used to be that advertisers would only pay when people click on their ads, but that's since evolved into a couple other different types of cost accrual methods as well. Nowadays, you can pay per impression when the ad gets shown, or pay per video view, or pay per like engagement, if somebody actually submits a form within your ad, stuff like that. Regardless, these are all considered under the umbrella of PPC advertising. So let's go ahead and look at some visual stimuli here real quick. This is an example of search ads. I went looking for pretzels for sale here, because I like pretzels a lot, my favorite food. And everything in red there, you see, these are all search ads. So above the organic search results here, in the red box, those are regular text ads, and over to the right in the red box, those are shopping ads there too. You can do all sorts of searches and you're going to see search ads here. Moving on to some examples of display ads. So went over to CNN yesterday, bam, right there at the top, there's a display ad dynamically created just for me when I opened up this page. The other day I was looking at some new motorcycle boots, and I looked at all 4 of those types of motorcycle boots on Revzilla.com, great place to buy motorcycle gear. And Revzilla's advertising pixel remembered which products I looked at, and it cobbled them together into this ad unit, and they bid on this ad placement and served it just to me in hopes that I would click on it and buy their needlessly expensive motorcycle boots. So there's an example of a display ad. Video ads. There's a couple different types of video ads here. On the left, we got our main video in red. It's a Geico ad. And then you can also see regular display ads up at the top right there. Very sneaky about it. I didn't give you any examples of Facebook ads, but you know what those look like, right? So PPC can be done yourself, but it is pretty complicated and it takes a good deal of experience. And by that, I mean lots of money to really start to know what you're doing. So people tend to hire ad agencies or to build their own in-house PPC department. I think mostly ad agencies. The ad agency business model is to charge a management fee of ad spend. So for example, if they've got a 20% management fee and $10,000 a month of ad spend, 20% of $10,000 is $2,000. That's what the ad agency would stand to make as their commission for managing that advertiser's ad spend. The business model here is for ad agencies to hire PPC specialists like me to manage a book of business of several ad accounts. But there's really an inherent flaw in this business model. And that is that the person who's responsible for making the vast majority of the investment decisions for an advertiser's ad account stands to gain or lose diddly squat most of the time if the ad account does incredibly well or crashes and burns and is horribly unprofitable. This is something I saw working at ad agencies previously, where people like me would have a rather sizable book of business of ad accounts to manage. And one more or one less was a significant amount of money to somebody, but not to me. The compensation I would make would remain completely unchanged, whether I helped someone make millions and millions of dollars or lost them hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And so so this bugged me, and I started thinking, what could be done to change it? So the solution is basically to send all the money directly to me and cut out all the middle people there. You really got to focus on what matters here, and what matters is the person making the day-to-day investment decisions for that account. So I quit my last ad agency job on July 31st. I whipped up Pretzel PPC over the past couple months here. There's really no overhead for this. I've already got a couple computers, I've got internet, and I've got the knowledge already, and that's really everything. It really all comes down to just time, dedication, blood, sweat, and tears, but not really any additional material inputs. I don't need to pay for buildings. I don't need to go pay for staff, other computers, stuff like that. So it's a pretty lean operation, and I can focus entirely on what it is that actually drives the bottom line there. Another reason I quit was because I was pretty dissatisfied with what I was doing day to day. I found that all I was doing was generating industrial quantities of demand for mortgage debt, student debt, and auto debt. And I found that a little unpalatable. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And if I keep working for other people, then I would have really no choice, and rightfully so, over what accounts I would manage. So by doing it myself, I can ensure that I only take ad accounts that I do want to manage. So meet the people of Pretzel PPC. It's me, myself, and I. It's really just me, and I think that's what is going to make this work as well as it is so far. As far as how the sausage gets made, it's pretty simple, but not necessarily easy, right? It's like just doing a whole bunch of push-ups. Like, you simply do the push-ups over and over. It doesn't make it easy, but the process is pretty simple. You just got to look at every ad account every day. Maybe you'll take some weekends off here and there, but once you start to get into the flow of things, you can look at your ad accounts even on the weekends. Just a couple minutes there, make sure things are going well. You want to do more of what's working and do less of what's not working. It's really not that complicated in that sense, but it's not something that the typical ad agency model really allows for. Because PPC specialists tend to be burdened with such a large book of business, they don't have the luxury of looking at all their accounts all the time, and that allows for small problems to fester and grow into larger and more expensive problems. One of my former coworkers described this as a gentle pressure applied relentlessly, and I really think that looking at these pretty much every day is the solution to driving fantastic performance. Really, the status quo for a lot of ad agencies is their PPC specialists looking at their accounts maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, twice a week, something like that. And in my not so humble opinion, that is just not enough. So the future, I've already got a couple clients here. I already have my needs met and then some. So I'm not desperate, and I don't need to accept clients or business models like what I just fled from, right? Like I don't need to accept clients that are looking to generate demand for debt, like student loans, housing loans, auto loans, stuff like that. And instead, I'd like to focus on some things that I think are making the world a little bit of a better place, right? Something a little more wholesome. So I'm looking to find 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 clients that I feel awesome about. Ideally, each of these would be spending somewhere in the ballpark of $10,000 to $50,000 a month on PPC. For those spending less than $10,000 a month, I don't offer monthly management. My skill set's really suited to a higher budget type. You can find all sorts of people who will manage lower budgets, but I don't think everyone has the skill set to manage the higher budgets. Anyway, for those smaller fish, as it were, definitely offer training and consulting and just a fixed hourly rate, stuff like that. So something for everyone here. And of course, there are economies of scale with PPC. Managing $40,000 a month of ad spend isn't that much different from managing $30,000 a month of ad spend. So because there's economies of scale, that management fee can definitely be negotiated there. So a couple things I would like some help with. I don't want to do this forever. I'm not super thrilled about how Google and Facebook are using our data to do what they're doing to the world right now. Who remembers the things that Edward Snowden told us about what Google and Facebook have been doing? Who remembers what Facebook would admit about how it optimized its newsfeed placements to generate controversy and conflict among its users? I think that these things initially started as a way to bring people together, but they seem to have evolved into a way to push people apart. And so my job involves dumping millions of dollars a year into their gaping maws. And I don't want to do that forever, but it's really my main moneymaker right now. So I want to stick with it for maybe 2 or 3 years, something like that. But then I want to hitch my wagon to something I feel awesome about. So I would love some insight or recommendations on how I can kind of explain this to people without scaring them off ahead of time. Other thing I'd like some help with is I've written a great deal of content for my website here. You can't really see it all yet, but it's coming soon. And I'd like to try packaging it into a digital product to disconnect revenue from my labor for the first time ever. And every time I've ever made money with something, it was as a direct input of my labor. I'd like to create this product. And even if I spend, 100 hours assembling an ebook that sells one copy of it for $20, I would consider that a success. And then lastly, if you know anyone who needs some PPC help, kindly consider sending them to pretzelppc.com. That's it. Thank you much.
Woo! Nice job, Ryan.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we've already got some enthusiastic hands up. Sarah, go ahead and unmute.
There it is. Hello. Hi, I'm Sarah from Grace Noble. When I was listening to your presentation, the thing that really jumped out for me was that obviously there are a lot of PPC agencies out there. And, you've talked about some of the ways you differentiate yourself, which are particularly that, you are more incentivized, you're more attentive to your client accounts, and you charge a slightly lower commission. You also seem to be very specialized in the higher value budget. So I think that's all really great. But I think if you really want to feed, that question you asked about how you can explain your exit strategy, one suggestion might be to take all of that and really crystallize it into the value you're giving your client. And by that, I mean being really, really explicit and upfront and saying, I left my old agency because I can deliver better value to you as a client in my own agency. And that translates into saving you 5% on costs and potentially getting you whatever better ROI. Because in such a crowded marketplace, I think really being upfront about saving money and making you better ROI would be the message I would want to hear.
Awesome, thank you. When I'm immersed in this day to day all the time for years, I tend to lose sight of that, what it feels to be on the other side of the fence there, having that value provided or destroyed, right? So I think that's something I tend to lose sight of. So thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, Jolene, up next.
Hi, my question is, are there specific industries that you are looking to target? obviously you said that you know the loan industry, but that's not the industry that you're looking for. Are there certain industries that you're interested in?
So I don't have it fully crystallized yet, but the vague outline would be anything that improves the people and planet in a pretty good way. So exercise, nutrition, things that are building community. I would love to see if I would love to help some perhaps some housing upstarts who are looking to maybe disrupt the current model of like let's spend $500,000 on this house made of sticks that people can punch holes through when they're drunk, right? Like that's there's a whole wide world of housing opportunities out there, and I would love to see if I can help amplify some of those other opportunities that don't really get shown all that much, but anything along nutrition, group exercise, a lot of exercise studios or gyms or martial arts dojos that would look to have more people in them. The thing is, most of these things that tend to have a pretty wholesome impact on the world tend to not be super profitable and have these large advertising budgets. But I would love to help with the consulting or training side of things to help them help themselves. There's some low-hanging fruit, if you will, that just about any advertiser can pick in order to kind of help themselves. That doesn't require that much input from an outside source. There's a lot of self-serve advertising opportunities out there that a lot of other companies have made, where you can just follow their steps. They've got a screenshot guide, and 10 minutes later you're on your merry way. But just a little bit of but that's not obvious to most business owners. So kind of giving them that direction is something I think that might help me do some good perhaps for that industry, even though I can't really be doing it day to day.
Yeah. Zaki.
Great presentation, Ryan. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Two things. As you were going along, I was taking some notes. The first thing you asked about was, how can you explain this to people? You're essentially telling the Jerry Maguire story. And so if you haven't seen that movie, go watch Jerry Maguire. People my age have seen it, and just tell them, I'm Jerry Maguire. I'm going to do that for you. But you talked about possibly making this a something that you can maybe get out there and train people in. My suggestion is before you develop an online training system that's going to just recur money for you and it's going to be done asynchronously and you don't have to deal with it, train a person live in person. Get them doing what you're doing so that you can work out those bells and whistles with that person. And then you'll have so much more information to give come time when you build your online thing. And when you get to that point, talk to me and Katie, because we both do the training world, and we will gladly be your support system.
Awesome, thank you. And I left this out, but fortunately, I've been training people formally at work for years and years now. I've taught quite a few dozen people from start to finish about how to do this, at least for getting them going, and then refining it to more immediate, intermediate, and advanced levels for a couple of years after that. So mostly informally, but a great, many hours, days and weeks of formal training for that matter. So a good deal of experience there. It's never enough, but I'm on my way.
Well, let's talk then sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Randy, you had a question.
Okay, so I'm sorry, it might be more than one breath here. So first of all, Ryan, you're talking about an exit strategy and you just opened your doors 2 weeks ago. I don't understand that. Okay, so that's one comment and one breath. The second question, and in the spirit of being positive, I was really positive about the first part of your presentation until you got to solution. And then you lost me and I just decided I was really uninterested. I think it's important to give you feedback, not just blow smoke in your direction. I think this is a bit of a statement, but I think you're very funny. I think I could imagine you having like a YouTube channel where and maybe you've done that before, I don't know, but where you have a fairly cheeky, interesting way of presenting this. It was pretty clear how you presented it. I found it really interesting and enticing. But when you got to the solution, you like just ended up rambling on, and I had really no clue. Like, you totally lost me. When you had me, you had me with your motorcycle boots. And you know, maybe this is the forum where you feel, you know, it's okay to be a little looser, to talk about, you know, your path and trajectory, all this. No, this is an opportunity. You know, the other thing I wanted to say too is that you identified a certain level, you know, 10 to 50K or whatever. And then you basically spoke in a condescending way because I'm not at that level. Well, you know, you said, oh, I wouldn't do business with them at all. And then in answering somebody's questions, you said, oh, I'd work with an exercise studio. I don't know too many exercise studios that do 50,000 in advertising, you know, a month. So there were a number of little pieces that didn't connect in your presentation. And I think it would be a good idea if you were to, you know, review it and really think about how you can offer something that, you know, like in a professional way. You had me in the beginning and you lost me in the middle. And not only did you lose me, but if this was a more real life situation, I would not refer you to a well-heeled client because I'd say, God, the guy's not professional. I don't know if that's a question, but that's direct feedback.
No, and it's all very well appreciated. And I think something that I could have made much more obvious in the presentation is there really is a large hump of initial work to get over with any sort of monthly management. That really, there's some diminishing returns at all budget levels there, but a very large amount of work to get it off the ground for the first 2, maybe 3 months for all sizes. And because I've been doing this for years, largely with clients spending, you know, $10 a day on ads, sort of a thing to start off with, I've found that that's really where a large deal of the market is there. And there's a great deal of people who can service that incredibly competently. But where I've found a kind of a hole, if you will, is that when advertisers or when businesses do bring their larger budgets to ad agencies, a lot of the times they just get completely shafted with the way the business model is, pretty much.
I just think that there's a way to package your remarks in a way that is uplifting, motivating, interesting, evokes curiosity, than to slam people who are not in that space yet. Maybe it's just a simple packaging and some words, but the words really matter.
Sure. Yeah. Point taken. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't had a chance. I normally ask a lot of questions, but being the host, it's like, oh, how do I not interject? You know, but I think that like, that's why we have 1 Million Cups. I think many of us present our businesses here for the first time. And that's the case across the country, where this is like, okay, let's get some of those bugs out. Let's figure out how I could be coming across, right? And for those of you who don't know, we do actually record the meetings. So that way the presenter can go back and see their presentation and can, like, they don't have to take notes on what all the feedback is. So I do want to piggyback on, you know, the first part of what Randy did say about your humor. I thought you were really engaging and really funny. And what was, it was an interesting, dichotomy of like your presentation was, you know, not very flashy, right? Like it was, you know, a lot of words on screen, but like you were so engaging. I just stopped looking at the presentation and just looked at your face, because you had such a beautiful energy. And so I just like really want to lift that up and encourage you to not lose that, even if you're going to be working with like some company that can afford a lot, you know, that amount of ads, right? Like I know this is something I struggle with, being a fairly silly, like energetic person, is like, how do I bring that in while also like being professional, right? So humor and relationships can get you anywhere. So I just want to encourage you to keep that in as part of your brand, because it's who you are.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, something else I could have made a little more clear is that I really do want to only work with people that I feel fantastic about working with. You know, I've worked with some people who you know, don't have a good sense of humor or really have have no idea how the PPC marketing space works and have some expectations that need to be very thoroughly reset. And they might be very resistant to doing that for years. And so I really want to be very choosy about this. I want people to be turned off by the goofiness if they can't handle it there. Like I would like to build some multi-year relationships that are prosperous for all involved. And like, this is what it's going to be like day to day. And I will almost certainly give them better performance than they've ever seen from any other ad agency. But we're going to have fun while doing it. And so I think that's why I kind of feel a little cavalier about the humor aspect of this, that like I can afford to do it. And so I'm going to, like, I want to really enjoy my day-to-day work as I do when I get to work with clients who appreciate that sort of thing.
Yeah, totally. Nate, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I was actually exactly about to say, is this thing on? Okay. Yeah. I was about to say that. I mean, Randy brought up some really good points, but however, what you're looking for is such a hyper-specific type of person that if it is a turnoff, exactly, let that be that. That way you can get down to exact, and you also have to take into consideration that whatever your presentation might be, whether you go back to the drawing board and take a few jokes out, whether you draw out the pretzel theme throughout the whole thing, there's always going to be someone that's pricked by something. Something is going to trigger a past business experience or a past failed something that makes someone not align with what you're going with. But don't fret about that at all. The only thing that I would think would be ideal is that you put so much effort into that those pretzel letters, and I need a bit more of that throughout. The consistent, like if you're going to put the effort in, I would love to see that you drug this out throughout the entire presentation, just so I can see some through work, because that tips me off to knowing that there's detail being done here and it's being taken expertly. Leif always gets on my nerves. It's like, the better a business looks, the more you can count on them not delivering anything of quality. That's a paraphrase, but he always talks about like marketing versus like actual quality. But knowing you personally, I know that the quality will be there. Now judge, just a little judge would be really cute.
Yeah, thank you. And I will confess that this pretzel theme imagery was stolen from my website for this presentation. You know, it was not straight out of whole cloth for the sake of this presentation there.
Yeah, I want it all.
I only had it for certain things, and I only shoehorned it into this presentation for the ones that made sense. So yeah, I'm with plans of commissioning more pretzels and perhaps turning them into a font. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm with Nate. There's a whole bunch of cool metaphors you could use about like stretching or like rolling out the dough or putting.
If he's gonna be that guy, be
untying
that
the
guy.
knots. Yep, totally.
Give it all to us.
I know we've got some newer faces here, or at least faces I haven't met before. Does anybody want to raise your hand or ask a question or offer a little like nugget of what you liked? Yeah, Madison.
Hi, Ryan.
Hello there.
And everybody, thank you for letting me join in today. This is my first time, and this is like very, very cool for me to see all of you and listen to your question in the presentation. So thank you for that. I wanted to ask you, Ryan, have you ever considered, and this kind of goes back to what we've been talking about the past couple minutes about kind of creating this brand around your humor and kind of your intelligence behind it. Have you ever considered creating like, I don't want to say a brand book because I don't want to put you in a box like that, but just creating maybe like a written item of different statements that that you can go back to and like refer yourself to, just to make sure that all of your talk tracks and conversations are consistent. And, you know, just making sure that you give a clear message. I'm wondering if that's something that you've ever considered, like one-liners that people can associate with your brand. They can remember that intelligence plus that humor, plus, you know, everything else that you bring to the table.
Yeah, thank you. So no, I've never considered formalizing it in writing ever for a single second. Informally, I think I have a good deal, probably most of those tidbits ready to rock. And I've pulled them out in all sorts of conversations with our previous clients before. I think you may have overheard a couple of them there before, but no, I've never once for a single minute considered formalizing them in writing.
Nice. Leif, last question.
I get last question honors. Have fun. So Ryan, it looks like you were saying, you know, you have a specific 10 to 50,000 client type things. how many spaces are you actively seeking out and putting yourself into where those people that make those decisions run around in?
None at all. All of my my current book of business for clients has come from friends and former coworkers. You know, they'd say like, "Hey, I worked with Ryan before, and oh man, the people managing our PPC right now are less than ideal. So can we get an audit of that and, you know, a pitch to take over our stuff?" And that's kept me busy here. It's kept me very busy for the past couple months. So things have only started slowing down for me workload wise in the past like week and a half. So so really kind of at the start of the prospecting journey here. And so no, I'm not putting myself out there in these spaces at all, really. I've been thinking about coming up with some kind of industry or vertical or theme pages on my website there to consider sending out to a couple businesses that I found, you know, that I would like to do that for. Like there's some, I really like my standing desk here, and I think it's brought me great deals of value in the past couple months of having it. And I think a lot of people are working at home too and could use one. And those people have some serious money. And I know that they're doing PPC, and their PPC ads are good, but I think they could be a little bit better there too. So I think first on my list is kind of reaching out to a few of those manufacturers or dealers, you know, whatever you call it, and just kind of outlining a pitch of where they're at, where I think I could take them, stuff like that. So, but no, I'm not putting myself out in any of these places at all at the moment.
One follow-up suggestion to that is, especially with your criteria of having a specific ideal client, is we always forget how much we don't know about what's out there, and trying to actively put yourself in places you wouldn't normally be, meetup groups you'd never go to otherwise, maybe thing like just scrolling through Facebook groups that you'd never be a part of otherwise, with industries that you're like, where maybe people might be hanging out that are making those decisions.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for some great questions, great discussion. We'll be continuing those discussions and conversations in our breakout rooms shortly. But before we move on, we always ask the presenter, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you? And, you know, I know you already made a few asks, but I'm curious, Ryan, is there anything like crystallizing after the conversation that we could kind of keep in mind going into the breakout rooms and discussing?
I think everyone really hit it pretty thoroughly so far. You know, I had the two specific questions right there, and already got a great deal of feedback on it. So now I think the ball's in my court, and I just got to take that and run with it.
Cool.
But
Great.
no, otherwise, all I would say is, you know, I am quite certain that this business would not have gotten off the ground as when it did, if not for the entrepreneurial kick in the pants the 1 Million Cups provided. You know, the past couple months seriously, and spectating and, you know, asking questions, and then just watching everyone else present. It's really kind of inspired me to get off my butt and make this a reality. I think that had I not started coming, you know, had Leif not invited me to the 1 Million Cups thing some months ago, I don't think that I think I'd still be sitting away at my ad agency job, wishing that I were not doing it.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you have taken the plunge and that you've been here. Even though you've been an active member, even though you're not even in the Seattle area, which is so fun.
I'm in Arizona, by the way.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. And, you know, that's why many of us keep coming back to 1 Million Cups. And I know I've been coming to 1 Million Cups for a number of years, and just recently became an organizer. And finally am getting like the courage to present next week. So inviting you all back next week. But if you even have an inkling that you might want to present, go ahead and go to 1millioncups.com/Seattle and apply to present. You're not going to be immediately scheduled for next week, right? I've already told you I'm going next week, but we have a whole process. So if you don't really feel like you're ready or aren't really sure what your presentation would be, you don't have to be ready before you apply. We're going to help you as you kind of go through that process. We've got a few steps before you even get on our schedule, because this is part of the magic of 1 Million Cups and kind of that education and encouraging you to and supporting you as an entrepreneur, a creator, an ideator, an innovator. So if you're trying something new, want to, you know, share your story, get some feedback, please feel free to present. And as I've mentioned, we're going to do some breakout rooms. So we've got a nice group here today. So we've got about like 3 or 4 people per room. So there'll be an awesome opportunity to connect. Again, encourage you to share a little bit of your story, meet a new friend today, continue the conversations. And also you have a free pass to leave when you're full and go and do what you need to do. Any final questions or thoughts before I see if I can figure out how to open all breakout rooms? This is my first time. Anybody? Yeah.
Thanks, Katie.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, gang. Great job. Keep the conversation rolling. Here we go.